Hi, I'm Karthik Kanagasabapathy. I'm the lead mentor for team FRC 1114 out of St. Catharines, Ontario. I've been with the team since 2004 when I was still a college student at the University of Waterloo. I was interning at General Motors at the time, and when I took the job at GM, they gave me this opportunity. They said, well, we have this FIRST robotics team, and we know you have some experience with FIRST, so we'd like it if you kind of took the reins with this team. So it was supposed to be a one-year thing. I was doing an internship at GM. I'd mentor the team, but the team became such a part of my life, and I became a part of the lives of the students with the team that I've just kept going back. Despite living 2 hours away from the team, I commute out there, and it's a big part of my life. And before, I was a mentor. I was a high school student. I graduated in 1998, and I helped start the first ever Canadian team, Team 188 Wilburn Robotics. So my roots are with that team, and I have a lot of fond memories and a lot of great mentors from that team, but my heart right now is with 1114 and helping the kids grow there. It's actually a neat story about how I got involved with the FIRST program, because I am, for anyone who knows me, one of the least mechanically inclined people out there. I've always, been good at math and science, did really well in those subjects in school, but I still to this day I can barely use a hammer. It's just one of those skills that I'm not going to develop. It happens. So I was literally walking through the halls of school one day. I was supposed to be in class, and I wasn't. When I was in high school, I did well, and I kind of had an attitude about myself where I felt I didn't need to be in class, and I was getting some grief from the school at the time, but just with what was going on in my life, I didn't really care too much, and it just kind of seemed like, well, whatever, you can do whatever you want to me. And so a teacher came up to me, and this teacher actually, his name's Mark Bredner, who's actually won the championship Woody Flowers Award in 2008, and he said, hey, you don't know me. I'm like, oh, I know you're Mr. Bredner, you're a teacher here. He's like, do you want to join the robotics team? I kind of gave him a look, like, are you kidding me? What are you smoking? Like, no, I don't want to join the robotics team. He's like, no, I think you might like it. I heard you're a big sports fan. I'm like, well, yeah, I am. I'm a huge sports junkie. He's like, well, there's some strategic things that I'm like, really, it's not my scene. He's like, well, you're really good at math. I'm like, yeah, I know that, because I was, kind of a cocky jerk back then, or maybe still am now. And so Mr. B, I still call him that to this day, even though, we serve together in a lot of professional matters now, but he's still always going to be Mr. B. He says, well, I can keep the vice principal and the principal off your back if you join the team. So I was like, okay, what can it hurt right now? So I came in, I went to my first meeting, and the team was divided into various areas, and I totally said I don't want anything to do with the robot. And he didn't want me to have anything to do with the robot. He wanted me to talk about strategy and how to play the game. And so I went into this meeting, and they had a diagram of the field. This wasn't even for a FIRST competition. It was for a different competition. This was before the team had even been involved in FIRST. It was for a different robotics competition. It was a diagram of the field and robots and whatever. And I'm like, wow, it looks like a football playbook. So I just went up there, and there were kids talking, and I kind of ignored them. I said, hey, you guys don't know what you're talking about, this. And I just I was like, I fell in love with it. It was like, wow, this is really, really neat. But at the time, I thought that my life would never have anything to do with robotics. But just being a part of the team, and through Mr. B's guidance, I just got more and more involved. And what was really neat is that he took a chance on me by having, most of the kids on the team weren't really as much like me. They were, better attitude and whatnot, but he took a chance on me. And as a result, this program's afforded me so many opportunities, and I've, I always wanted to be a better person, to live up to the respect that he showed me when he first introduced me to the team. And I think that's the biggest thing a mentor can ever do. And honestly, I hate to be all cliche about it, but it changed my life. There's been a lot of rewarding moments as a mentor, and you think about every year when new students, the students that you've had throughout the team, when they've graduated and they've completed their goal on the team, and you've seen how they've grown from being a freshman on a team to the senior. And every single one of those moments is really special, but we've had a couple students who've come into the team, and they reminded me of myself a little bit, what I was like when I was younger. And I've tried to take those students under their wings, because we have so many students who join the team, and you can tell they're going to be an engineer. They love engineering already. And that's really cool, and you want to guide them, and you want to help them. But I feel that the real impact that FIRST can make, when we talk about changing culture, the way you change culture is you get people who have no interest in this sort of stuff, don't believe in science technology, and you work with them to help kind of change their views, their perspectives, and their lives. And so we've had a couple students who just came into the program. They looked kind of aimless. One student in particular, it seemed like he was never going to finish high school. It wasn't going to happen. And he only joined the team because he was dating someone who was involved with the team. And, he came out and he, it took him an extra year to finish high school, but he did. And now he is an amazing role model. He just, the team didn't turn him into an engineer. That wasn't going to happen. But the team turned him into a responsible adult who is mature, handles themselves well in situations, and now is on our team as a mentor to the younger students and is a positive role model for them. So just seeing that transition in his life is absolutely amazing. I think it's the opportunity to make an impact. I mean, there's 6 billion people on this planet, and sometimes you wonder. I remember I was taking the MARTA in, and I was kind of silently, looking at people on the train and wondering, what does your life mean if you don't make an impact? And I don't mean to be demeaning in some way, but there's a lot of people at the end of the day, they said, have you affected anyone in the past 10 years, past 5 years? They might look at themselves and not be able to answer that. And I know that I can say that I've impacted the lives of at least a couple individuals. I'd like to think that it's more, but I can know just a couple who I've made an impact, and that makes it seem like that have some place in this world, that I'm doing something. As a young person who doesn't have kids yet, and I haven't invented anything really cool or done anything like that, just to know that a couple people's lives have been changed and that they'll be making an impact in the future. I think that's the benefit of being a mentor, because we're all looking for meaning in our life. And I'm not trying to be super profound here and super deep and say, mentor will change your life forever. Nothing crazy like that, but it might change someone's life somewhere. One of the things that I did before my current job, when I was at the University of Waterloo, I was a TA for calculus, and I lectured first-year calculus for a long time, and I also worked with some development of math curriculum. So there's a lot of studies we've seen. And so I know we're talking about technology, but mathematics ties directly into it. At standardized testing in the province of Ontario, at ages 8 and ages 12, girls are scoring considerably higher than boys. So any notion that anyone has out there that girls aren't as good as math, it's not true. It absolutely isn't true. Girls develop faster at a young age when it comes to mathematical ability. And it's possibly because girls are doing more small motor movements as opposed to large motor movements. Boys are playing big sports. Girls are doing other sorts of things. And so the brain develops in a different way. So right away, why do we have this problem? Well, it's a problem in education, because we have these natural paradigms where people just assume that girls aren't good at math. So girls go into a classroom and they have primary teachers. We're talking about teachers who aren't trained at teaching math, who come in with this paradigm. And it's not just male teachers, it's female teachers who weren't good at math. So they assume, I'm not good at math, I don't like math. And they direct their math classes inadvertently, no intention whatsoever, towards the boys. And so girls at a young age are very adept at picking up on social cues, and they notice these things. And they're like, wait a second, our teacher is okay with the fact she's not good at math. She says it every so often, I'm not the best at math. It's okay not to be good at math. The expectation isn't there. Parents don't put the pressure in that area. And all of a sudden, girls become disenfranchised towards mathematics. And as they go up, then there's a second social stigma. I think if you talk to most teenage girls, they don't want to be known as being good at math. Being known as being good at math means you're weird. Other girls will isolate you for being good at math. Boys will isolate you for being good at math because they're jealous, because it's supposed to be a boy's domain. And all of a sudden, we have all these factors conspiring against it. So by the time girls are 16 and 17 and they're making choices for what they want to do in college, they've shut these doors totally. And so one of the things that I always saw myself as a math teacher was to make sure, and you don't ever want to overcompensate to a certain degree because you don't want to isolate the boys, but girls have to be taught differently at an older age when it comes to math to make up for all these imbalances. So why aren't there enough women in technology? There's a problem with the way we're educating. And these problems go all to the most basic things. And we see these commercials about, I don't know if you have these in the US, but Dove soap commercials about body image and self-esteem and whatever. Well, we need mathematical self-esteem to teach girls that, hey, there's nothing wrong with being bad at math. Being good at math. Totally blew that one right there. But it's just one of those things that naturally comes out. Who knows where that slip came from? But it needs to be addressed, because to say that there aren't enough women in tech. Oh, well, you know, in every meeting, I just see women as complete equals. It's not true. People don't. They may want to believe that. No one wants to believe they're prejudiced in any way. But naturally, we have these sorts of issues. So if we don't proactively make efforts to counteract them, the problem will just grow or the problem will just stay the same. I knew so many girls, as both when I was in high school and both as a teacher, who were really, really good at math. If anyone asked them, so are you good at math? Instantly they would say no, because they didn't want that label. And in FIRST, we're trying to change culture so engineering, science, and technology are respected. But we need to address that when it comes to girls and when it comes to women. You can tell stories and people aren't gonna get it because it's a nice story and you hear it, it's like, oh, well, that's cute. That's really nice, and it warms my heart a little bit. But I really think it's important for people to see things hands-on and to see the impact, to hear the testimonials. I think, you know, me talking about the impact, I could talk to you about wow, I had a great moment mentoring this student. But I think it's more important for people to hear from the students about how mentors have impacted their lives. And for some, I keep coming back to the word impact because I think that's what we're really talking about here. That's the crux of the situation. We want to create impact. We want to see impacts. And I think if prospective mentors could see the impact that this program has on other students, I would hope that everyone has that aha moment. This would be great, but not everyone's going to. But you know, if we get the message, I always talk about the analogy of throwing pebbles at a mailbox. Something's going to go in. So we get this message out to a whole whack load of people. And if we just get a few new mentors out there who can create a few impacts, it'll spread.